Okay, we're starting off this haul with the Spc Maker. I think this is the 95GF is what they're calling this. Comes in this nice case. They're including two sets of the Gem Fan 2035 4-bladed props. These are the these are the good ones that I like a lot. Including two 3S batteries, 350 milliamp hour 30C, so you can see 11.1 volts, and they have XC30 connectors. Get two of these Velcro battery straps. Get a bunch of zip ties and some Velcro, including some screws here. These are M2 screws. I believe these ones on the bottom are for the props, and I don't know what these four are for exactly. I guess we'll find out later. And they do include an XT30 to XT60 adapter. I think this is for if you want to charge those batteries and you don't have an adapter to go to something that needs an XT60 plug. They include that. Okay, so here's the micro drone itself. Obviously 2-inch drone. I think these are 1104 motors. Yeah, they're 1104 7500 kV. And they look they look a little bit different from a DOS motor. They got these little lines on here, and they're the magnets seem stronger. The ratcheting on the motor is stronger. Can't really hear that, but I can feel that. But they all feel pretty smooth. Comes with a micro swift, and this has the 2.3mm lens, so it'll be interesting to see the field of view. And that's a little bit narrow. I think it's about 130 degrees. I think the power stack on here is a 10 amp 4-in-1. It might be more. I'll have to double check that. You can also check the link in the description if you want to see the specs. I think this is an Omnibus F3 with an on-screen display, and it looks like it comes with a receiver. I think this is the FlySky version. Yeah, and you can see here on the bottom of the receiver, it's a FlySky FS RX2A Pro receiver. This includes a video transmitter. It's part of the flight stack here, and it's in between the flight controller and the receiver right there. And then you can see the whip antenna. The little sleeve dipole comes out of the top and the back here. The frame itself looks pretty strong, and looks like it's pretty good carbon fiber. So the bottom plate measures about 2.5 millimeters, and the top plate's about 2 millimeters. So this one looks like a pretty nice model. I'm looking forward to testing this out, and I'll have a full review on this, and obviously a lot more details in the full review coming up on my channel in a few days. Okay, I think we got here a micro video transmitter. Okay, so this is a micro video transmitter and camera combo. You can see that they're separated, and looks like the wires are directly soldered, so it can't be disconnected. The antenna is connected via micro UFL connector here, and the antenna that they're including is one of these circular polarized antennas, but you can obviously substitute a whip antenna if you want. And you also get a nice little plastic mount for the micro camera. So the camera is 600 TV lines, and the video transmitter is power switchable between 25 and 200 milliwatts, and I'll put a link in the description for this as well. Okay, so a replacement motor for the Wizard X220S has come in. You saw in the first part of the review that motor was not spinning, so hopefully this motor will fix the problem. You can see it already comes pre-braided and heat shrunk here. You got the motor wires here, and you have these extra wires here for the LEDs, and I'm just going to be ripping out all of the LEDs on the X220S when I do the motor install. I'm basically going to do a whole mod to lighten it up. It's kind of too heavy, and I'm going to fix some of the other problems like the video noise, and probably put a better receiver in there as well. So I know that there's been a lot of videos out there where there's been some issues and problems, so I'm going to make a video where I'm going to mod it so that a lot of those issues will be fixed. Okay, I got another micro video transmitter here. This is from a company called EWRF, I believe. And I think it's 25 milliwatts. You got a little LED here. I'm not sure if it's power switchable or not. It comes with a dipole sleeve whip antenna soldered on. The thing about this video transmitter is that it uses the TBS Smart Audio Protocol to be able to change your power and your settings, and also be able to change those settings via your Betaflight OSD. So I'm going to be hooking that up and we'll see what that looks like, and so stay tuned for that review. And I'm really looking forward to getting this working, because it'd be really nice to be able to change your settings of your video transmitter without having to dig through your model and push buttons and stuff, and just be able to do it through your OSD, which will be really nice. Okay, I got the Fly Egg 100 in. This is from King Kong. So if you guys have seen all the other King Kong products like the 95 GT, 110 GT, this is a 1.9 inch version, or the 2 inch version of the Fly Egg 130 that had the 2.8 inch props, and these have the same motors that are on the 95 GT. So basically this is the 95 GT but with the metal side plates here and camera system, the more 20x20 traditional 20x20 flight controller stack. These motors are a little bit different. The same kV and size, 1103 7800 kV, but they have this different sort of bell. And I think I don't particularly think these motors are that great in terms of heat, because they don't have ventilation. I think that's why the ones on the 130 seem to run a little bit hotter, but we'll see how this runs. We'll fly it on 2S at first, and then we'll do 3S, of course. And you see that it comes with all the kind of the same stuff that the 95 GT came with, the same 1.9 inch props. You get the same 350 milliamp hour 2S battery with the JST connector, same USB cord. You get the same motor guards on here. So this is very similar to the 95 GT, 110 GT, and 130 GT, obviously with this unique design. And obviously we'll cover this in more detail in the full review coming up on my channel in a few days. Okay, so I got the Drocon Hacker here. This is a little tiny toy drone. It looks like it has a little camera there. Let's see, we've got a 720p camera. Comes with a remote control. Let's take a look at it. Okay, so this is what you get in the box. You get the controller, pretty tiny. You get the drone itself, there's the battery, you get some instructions, you get a bag, it's a USB cable, I guess it charges by USB, and some spare props. You get a bunch of spare props. And yeah, it does charge by USB on the side here. Yeah, so here's a little sneak peek at it. You got a little camera here in front, maybe for selfies. On-off switch. A little micro SD card slot. That's an amazing. This thing even flies, and it looks like it charges by USB, and the battery looks like it's just internal. Doesn't look like you can replace it. Yeah, it's all screwed in here. And props are 3-bladed. Looks pretty flexible. See, pretty tiny. Anyway, I'll have a full review on this pretty soon, so stay tuned for that. Okay guys, another toy drone here, the Goulart Ct T32. It's one of these folding drones, maybe for selfies. Looks like maybe another camera here. Here's kind of what it looks like when it's got the prop guards on. So you get a bunch of stuff in here. Yeah. So it looks like it's one of the bigger ones. You can see these prop guards are fairly huge. Looks like this maybe uses Wi-Fi FPV. It's like it's a phone holder here. And we got a USB charging cable, looks like, and some spare props, screwdriver. Here's the manual. Looks like it's in, okay, there's some English and some Chinese there. Looks like you get a little cloth bag for holding the drone, it seems. Yeah, it's folding, so it would look like it would fit in there. Here's the transmitter. Yep, centered throttle, so it's got altitude hold. You got some buttons, more buttons. Looks like it takes AA batteries. So it's actually bigger than I thought it would be. It's actually quite large. It folds up to the size of the palm of my hand, but the arms will fold out. So this is actually pretty big. I think these props are about 6 inches. So yeah, this will be interesting. And got a little camera here. It doesn't Looks like the tilt is adjustable. Little power button. Looks like the battery is in here. Little micro low-C battery. You got some lights underneath here. Yeah, this looks like it's going to be interesting. Probably a pretty interesting flyer with these big props. It's brushed motors, but it's got big props, so it should have some interesting power. Anyway, full review on my channel pretty soon, so stay tuned. Okay, so we got the Ekend V8S action camera here, and I'm going to be reviewing this pretty soon. It's a 4K action camera with electronic image stabilization. It's got the, you can see it's got the waterproof case. I think this comes with a ton of accessories. This thing feels pretty heavy. So here's some of the specs. Obviously I'll go over all this in the full review later. Let's just take a quick look at what we got inside. Okay, got a small user manual here. Got a bunch of accessories here. These are GoPro style mounts. You got some zip ties and a lanyard. You got, it looks like a little Bluetooth remote. It's like a tripod frame mount. There's another bunch of mounts here. It looks like you just got a bunch of mount accessories in this one. Okay, you got a USB wall adapter. It's like a little strap for holding the camera. Got a USB cord. And you got a little collapsible tripod with a little tripod screw on there. I think the camera comes with a tripod screw. So here's the camera inside the waterproof case. And here's a quick look at the camera itself. I think this is similar to a GoPro in terms of size and weight. I'll measure it in the actual review. Actually, it might be closer to the SJ-Cam 4000 series. Not 100% sure. You got an LCD in the back here and one in the front. You got your, this is typical, your power button here, shutter button on top, and your looks like a micro USB, a micro HDMI, and your micro SD card slot in the back. I don't know if this has a touchscreen or not. I might or might not. I'm not sure. I'll have to double check that. But yeah, I look forward to this review pretty soon, so stay tuned for that. Okay, for those of you guys that have been waiting for the BBB build at 3-inch micro drone, needed a sort of I needed a 4-in ESC and a flight controller that didn't come with that. And so I was waiting for this part. This is the XJB F425, has an OSD, obviously an F4 chip, and a 4-in-1 ESC, which is up to 25 amps. So here's a quick look at it. I like these XJB power cubes. They come with the 6 pins in the middle here instead of all a bunch of wires and stuff. And obviously the connector is going to be here on the bottom of this board. This is the flight controller. That's the 4-in ESC. It makes for a very clean build. Yeah, so I'll put this into the BBB build, and so I'll put that in a video pretty soon, so stay tuned for that. Okay, got another micro drone here. I think this is the awesome F100. Comes in this pretty nice box, but pretty hard to open. Here's the manual. Looks like the flight controller board is a different size than the normal 20x20. They're still using the GemFan 2035 props. Looks like you only get one set. Little 500 milliamp hour 25C. Looks like this is a 2S battery. Get the same prop guards that came with the Q95. Screws for mounting the props. And I think this is for the receiver, and you get an extra rubber band for mounting your battery. Okay, so here's what it looks like. It's obviously a slightly different design from the Q95. It's got the same, looks like the same bottom plate, but it's a little bit bigger. That is 100 millimeters. And not 95 millimeters. It's got the same motors. These are the 1103 7500 kV motors. Obviously you can see here this flight controller stack or power cube is longer. I'm not sure what this is. It's not 20x20, so obviously the frame is made for this. And so you got the 4-in-1 ESC and the flight controller on top. I'll have to look into that a little bit more. You can always see there's an OSD chip right there. This comes with a different camera FPV system. We've got a camera here, and maybe the video transmitter is in the back somewhere. I'm not sure. You can see the video transmitter antenna is back here, and this is the receiver antenna here. And this comes in two versions: a plug and play with no receiver, and a bind and fly. This is the bind and fly version. This comes with a FreeSky receiver. I think it's a D16 receiver. I'm not 100% sure. I'll cover that in the review. But yeah, I think this is going to be pretty nice. The Q95 had issues with the camera. In fact, I busted up my camera on the Q95. I'll have a future video review on that one. I'll talk about that later. But you got this sort of like these metal standoff side plates here and a little top plate here. So it might be kind of interesting. Maybe we'll put a little Mobius Mini on top here to get some HD video. We'll have to see how much power this thing has. Maybe we'll have to go to 3S to do that, because this only has a little JST and 2S might not be strong enough. But you can see on the bottom here the screws are countersunk. Anyway, I'll talk about this in more detail in the review coming up on my channel later. Okay, got another micro drone. This is a 1S brushless micro drone, the Bat100 from Full Speed RC. So I know that a lot of you have been asking about this one. This is a pretty unique model. It's got some bigger props for these small, I guess, 07, 03 motors. I have to double check that. We'll pull it out here in a second. Obviously it's 1S. You got a little 1S battery here. Not sure what size that is. It looks like maybe about 500 milliamps perhaps. And it's got the larger pH connector on here. Got some rubber bands, and that's Velcro. Got some bigger props here. I think these are 65 or 66 millimeter props. Okay, so there's no markings on the motors themselves, but I don't think these are 07, 03. I'm not 100% sure what size this is. Yeah, we want to check the product link in the description to see what the motor size is. I think these are a little bit bigger, so it should have some pretty good power. It's really, really light. And you got your little pH 2.0 connector here in the back for the power. And it looks like a small 16 by 16 stack here in the middle. The flight controller looks like it's got the on-screen display. It's got your video and video audio. I see the on-screen display chip in there. And we have a VM2751 all-in-one camera, just like on the other drones that come from Full Speed RC. Anyway guys, yeah, this looks really interesting. Looking forward to flying this around. Have a video on this, obviously a full review coming up pretty soon. Okay, so this is the Beiyang Toys X21. It's finally come in. This is the double GPS version, so this one can do the follow me. And I'm not going to do a full unboxing here, I'm just going to show you what comes in the box real quick. Obviously this comes with the transmitter. The transmitter has a GPS, and there's a GPS in the model itself. That's why they call it the double GPS version. There's I'm not sure if you can see, there's a little HD camera on the bottom there. It doesn't have a gimbal in terms of like a stabilizing gimbal. It's just like basically just a mount on the bottom. So the video probably is not going to be all that great. A lot of these, inexpensive drones are kind of like that. You're going to have to get your own third-party gimbal if you want stabilized video. Obviously, you got some pretty big brushless motors here, and some other parts and accessories. You got a battery charger. I'm not sure what kind of batteries in there, but yeah, I'll have obviously a full review coming up later. I'll talk about all this in more detail, so stay tuned for that. Okay, so these are the new Racer Star Tattoo 8 amp BL Heli 32 ESCs. They're pretty tiny. You can see they're about the size of my thumbnail. So there's a quick look at them. Looks like they already put some solder on some of these tabs, but not that third one. You can see, yeah, it's very small. Probably I could do an actual formal review on these. I'm just going to put them into a build. Now that Betaflight 3.2 release candidate's out, we can now update these pretty easily with the BL Heli 32 configurator, which is, you're going to need Betaflight 3.2 to be able to set these up. For example, change the settings and reverse motor directions, that kind of stuff, like I used to be able to do on BL Heli S. But for the micro builds, this is the new BL Heli 32 ESC 8 amp, so I should be putting this in a build pretty soon, so stay tuned.